How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here. Just a quick one today, going over the teams list for Trials Week 3. Starting off with the best club, Manly Sea Eagles versus the Panthers. Pretty sure the Panthers are going to be, very, very weak. With how well Manly did last week, we could put a score on, but I feel like anyone in a Panthers jersey isn't really a slouch. So, getting into it, Clayton Falalo at fullback. That's going to be really interesting to see. He was killing it from centre just a few days ago, and he was really great to watch. I'm not really going to have much to say on any of these Penrith guys, because I don't know many of them, but if I recognise them, I'll go over them. Lehigh on the wing, which is a good sign, because that's where we want him. I think, unfortunately, Tommy Talau is going to have to get dropped. There's whispers of him becoming a 14 or even a second rower, because he is deceptively huge. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what Manly do with this back line. Kohler in the centres as well, with Garrick in there. Willett on the wing. Interesting. Very interesting. I would have thought, I suppose the other boys had their hit out before, or maybe Talau hasn't had a go. Maybe there's a bunch of ways you could read into it. Talau not having a go in trials could mean that they're saving him for round 1, or it could mean that they've already made the decision and he's the one out of the backs, so they're going to get dropped. I'm happy to see Dean Madison back at 5'8". He was good last week, along with Jake Arthur. He's very improved. Sonny Luke at 5'8" is different. Asu Kapoa on the wing, heard of him before, mainly just because I've seen his name in Supercoach. Takayaho starting, and I think with his performance last week, there is a good chance he could start in round 1 rather than coming off the bench, which would be interesting. We've got Jazz Tavanga having a go in the hookers. Bullimore, Benny Turbo's in, Corey Waddell, Nathan Brown. Not a whole lot of Supercoach relevant stuff here. Maybe Jazz Tavanga if he is the main hooker taken over from Croker. Ben Trbojevic is always teetering on relevance. 1 year he's going to explode, and we'll probably all have him anyway because he's got that nice jewel. He's a little bit more expensive coming into this year than other years though, so. Back Francis Brown, can't wait to see him just put his body through the ringer. Simpkin on the bench, Cheekam, Chris Patolo, Dolph Sipley, Cham Kumtong in there as well. Vega got named again after nearly killing someone. Not a whole lot of Supercoach relevance in here outside of Manly's back 5. So we'll move on. Tigers and Eels. I don't really know how this one's going to go, but looks like we've got a bit of a stronger team. So we got Iongi. Do I have to go on about him? I think we've talked enough about Iongi. He looked decent last week, not enough to make me scared to not have him. Heath Mason, I love watching him play. I would love to see him get a crack in first grade, but being behind Buller, not that likely. Jarrell Skelton, I'm not entirely sure if that is the wing he was on last week. I'm pretty sure last week we wanted to see him on the other wing, so we'll see how he goes. Stafford Toa is a cheapy option if he gets picked in round 1. I don't see it happening, but injuries can happen. Sound like a broken record. We'll get our first look at Zach Lomax in Eels colours. That'll be good to see. So if we have Tuolungi named as well, that side of the field could be quite interesting to watch. Jake Tungo had a good game last week. Charlie Sains, Galvin, Adam Dewey at halfback. He's a cheap to mid option as well, so if he looks good, don't sleep on him. Roland Volkman was amazing last week. Keen to see him get another run. Terrell May, Talon Silva. This is all to be expected. Jack Williams apparently made it into the leadership team, unless I'm getting confused with another Williams. I was just listening to a pod today, thought I heard his name. So yeah, maybe he's been training the house down, and who knows, we'll see what we get from him. Alex Seyfarth is the captain. Samuel Afinu is always a watch. There he is, Kelma Tuolungi. Jermaine Hopgood. Hopgood's a bit of a... people are sleeping on him a bit. I won't be picking him because, meh. Just don't really love the guy. I had him when he was like a crazy cheapie. Sold him off. Haven't really considered him since. He can be a great gun option, but I don't really see what sets him apart from your Olakuatus and stuff like that. Alex Twell, I'm going to say it now. If Alex Twell scores a try, I'm going to add $20 to the prize pool. And do we just make that a rule going forward in the season? Yeah. First try that Alex Twell scores this year, $20 to the prize pool. Clip that. Latu Fainu, Ryan Madison. Get a look at Royce Hunt and Jack Bird. Those are two options that are fairly highly owned. Hopefully they get some good minutes. Jack Bird looks different. Or am I just lost, potentially? Another Fainu. I don't know if we're going to see much. Kidding. Charlie Geimer. He is slowly but surely getting more and more raps on him. I think we will see him get a bench spot. He's also in my team. Solomon Tape looking like he's in a Storm kit there, which is kind of weird. Brendan Hands, if he's an 80-minute hooker, we want him. How do we pronounce this guy's name? It's not Josh Josh. I'm going to call him Josh. Josh Papali'i. He also looked like he was getting through a fair amount of work. Adokar, not that Supercoach relevant. And he's just past his prime. Let's be real, the guy's a bit of a flog. He just can't behave himself, and I don't respect it. Dragons, Rabbitohs. So, pressure's on Rabbitohs this game. They're going to want to put in a better performance than they did last week, outside of the last 15 minutes. So let's have a look. Gutho, who looked good last week. Trell's in. I would have thought... Oh, they're not playing Vegas. They played Vegas last year. What am I saying? Latrell, Gutho. So many Finus. Fineow, not Finu. My bad. Isaiah Tass, Declan Casey, Jack White at centre. Tyrone Munro. Keen to get another look at him. I love the kid. The reception he got in the All-Stars game was very surreal. Was it Guru saying it brought a tear to his eye? Probably. Anyway, Holmes, he looked good last week, but as I said before, Jesus, they did Kyle dirty with that photo. So he just come home from a bender. Jesus Christ. What was I talking about? Val. Yeah, I can't tell you it's a terrible option, but I won't be picking him. Kyle Flanagan I like. Lachlan Ilias, yeah, I like him better than Dodd, to be fair. Couchman's relevant. Marmazelis relevant. I probably won't be going him. Kepi's improved. I don't know if he just had a bit more dog in him because he wanted to stick it to his old club. Davey Mulally, if he gets the minutes. Emre Guler I like as well. Tallis Duncan. There's a fair bit to look at here. Jade Sewer, Jack DeBellin. There's usually a time of the year where those two become relevant, so don't forget on them. Jamie Humphries, also relevant, potentially a cheapie option. I don't think he's bottom dollar. I think he's like 300-ish. Jacob Little there, Raymond Fatala Mariner. Jai Great, 15. I was about to say, who's the fullback? We know who the fullback is, Jake. Come on. Ryan Couchman, Liam LeBlanc. Liam LeBlanc, I think, is actually, if he gets some minutes, he's available in Supercoach pretty cheap. What have we got down here? Fletcher Myers, potentially relevant. Pacific Tonga, I want to see him get a go. He is getting named pretty deep in the reserves, though, so that seems to be how it was last week, too. So maybe his stocks aren't looking all that good, but he's under 200k, so he's staying in my team until I'm certain I need to get rid of him. Bloody hell. Looks like the Dogs have gone from second grade to full-on first grade. seems to be the theme for this week's trials. So these are looking a bit closer to normal NRL team lists. Reece Walsh, with how good the Broncos looked last week, granted it was a trial, it looks like the Broncos are responding well to Madge, which makes Reece Walsh very interesting. Stephen Crichton, Whisperer has got Crichton in as a pod, and in one of Insight's podcasts, he wanted to keep it under wraps. He doesn't want everyone getting on Crichton because he thinks he's going to explode this year. The thing is, I know that Crichton is like one of the best centers in the world, but I don't watch him that closely. What is he going to add to his game that he didn't have last year that's going to make his Supercoach scores increase dramatically? Look, Whisperer is a smarter Supercoacher and just knows rugby league better than I do, so maybe take his word for it over mine. And then if he's wrong, he cops the flack and not me. Jesse Arthurs, I think he's going to come back into my team as well after his performance in the All-Stars. He looked fantastic. Montoya, also an option. Now that Kiraz is not fit for round 1, Montoya is a great option because someone's going to come in Blake Wilson's going to come in for Kiraz. Montoya's not going to come in for him and then lose his spot when he comes back. So I think I might have to get Montoya in as well. And that I've kind of shifted from going all guns blazing in the center wings to the second row forwards, just because low scoring at the start of the year, your second row forwards are going to be more consistent. So maybe that lets me free up some cash and get in an Isaiah Yeo or something like that. Toby Sexton, I don't mind. He I'm pretty sure he's relatively cheap, and he was doing pretty well in a good Bulldogs team, so I can't talk anyone out of that. Corey Pakes, huge, big. Considering this is a fairly full-strength looking team, Pakes is in there, huge, get him in your teams. Over Marmazelis, I think, is he cheaper than Marmazelis? Either way, I'll be going with Pakes. Payne Haas looks good. There was an injury scare with him well early into the preseason, so he looks good to go. I took him out of my team because of that, and now I don't think I have the room to get him in, and I don't know if I have the money to partner him with Terrell May. So I think I'm going to have to death ride him, which is scary. Viliami Kicks could be relevant depending on what he's priced at. He's just a giant, and he's very hard to stop close to the line. So I don't hate it as a pod, depending on what he's priced. I would pay for Kickow 500k. If he's around there, sure. If he's 550 to 600, probably wouldn't go him. If he's in the 400s, he's probably not, because if he was, he'd be much higher owned and people would be talking about him. So I've got a feeling he's probably a bit higher up. Josh Curran, he's a nice, safe mid-ranger to have in your team. Get yourself some anywhere from 40 to 65 pretty consistently. So if there's a time of the year that you need that, he's pretty good. Or if we see an injury in the Dogs pack, you can see him get increased minutes. Jock Madden, meh. Salmon, he was a cheapie last year. Don't see anyone going there this year. Dean Mariner killed it last week. Billy Walters in the reserves. So maybe the plan is to see Papes start and then bring Billy Walters on for impact. That'd make sense. Give the rookie a go just to do the simple stuff and then get some chaos going with Billy. Benjamin Takura and Piakura. People are going to be scared off Piakura from last year, including me. I didn't get fisted by him last year when he got injured, but it was a known thing. He was I want to say he was 50% owned, and he burnt a lot of people. So that's 50% of people who are going to be reluctant to put him back in and could miss out. I don't have him in my team at the moment, but the potential's there. We just need to get some consistency from him. Takura, one of the, I think it was Walsh, was speaking to a journo and said to expect more minutes from Takura, who is a cheapy option. I've popped him in. Mighty Tapau, solid as always. And I think that's all we've got for this game. Dolphins Titans. If the Titans dish up what they did last week and the Dolphins dish up what they did last week, this could be a carving up. Especially considering how many first graders the Titans had last week and they just couldn't get it going. I think people expected a lot better from him. Keen to see Hammer. If he had the centre wing duel, he'd be in my team, which would give me a 5-gun fullback team. I'm currently running 4-gun fullbacks. One's like a mid-gun, but 4-gun fullbacks just sounds fucking great to say. Shut up, phone. KO Weeks, Tom Trebojevic, Latrell Mitchell, and Pappenhausen. And the fact that I can fill up a 5'8" slot with that, hectic. Jermaine Asako. Wait and see. If he is scoring tries, kicking goals, sure. But the ball just doesn't seem to get out to him too much. We've got Jojo and Phillips Army in. So we must have Campbell and Brimson in the halves, excuse me. And then that fills up, gives these guys space to come back in. Herbie Farmworth. I probably won't be trying to start with him, but I think I will be trying to get him in relatively early, depending on how the Dolphins are doing. He is so expensive that people just overlook him. Like, people know he's good and they know he scores well, but I don't think people are comfortable paying over 700k for him when you can get yourself in a Hines, or, well, maybe not a Hines now that he's got that adductor strain. But you get what I'm saying. Bostock, gun player, but he'll be too expensive. Cody Nikarima. I actually had Cody Nikarima for a good while last year in 5'8". He had the hooker 5'8" dual, so he was really flexible to push around, and he got some pretty good scores. He lifted for me when I needed to. So there we go. We've got AJ and Kieran in the halves. So where is Campbell's in the reserves? Okay. All right. Isaiah Katoa. He could, if he's added a few more strings to his bow in attack, he could score a lot better, but I don't think we're going to be looking at him. Daniel Saifidi in the new colours. That's exciting to see. Jamin Jolliffe was a good pod last year. So was Mo Fotuaika, actually. So it's just the Titans factor, isn't it? Like, God, their forwards are so good. But the Titans just always seem to be that 12th, 13th spot team, no matter how much hype there is for them coming into the season. So, see what happens there. Felice Kafusi, his big Maltese head. Is that racist to say? Kind of. Anyway, bleep that if it's. Don't cancel me. Don't pursue me. Grow up. Fini Fuiaki, a very popular option. I can't remember what it was, if it was injury concern, minute concern, but people were very high on him, not so much anymore, and I don't know enough about him to make a call on that right now, so we'll see how he goes. Max Plath. Thing is with Plath, right, is we're not getting him at the price we were getting him last year, nice and cheap. So he's a gun, and he's consistent, but he's priced as a consistent gun now. So I don't hate it, but we don't know if he's going to have that exact same role as he did last year that converted really well to Supercoach points. So if you're going to pick him, I don't hate it, especially with hooker being gross, you can stick him up there. But just be prepared for him to be one that you need to move on if he doesn't have that exact same role. Tom Gilbert's also an option, but he hasn't played for a while, so I'd like to see how he goes. Keanu Keeney on the bench. I was tempted to go with Keeney over Pappenhausen as my third fullback. just as a pod, and he looks electric. And the Titans can score points. It's just we don't know if they're going to show up on any game, really. It's tough. Kenny Bromwich back. Mark Nichols back. Ray Stone back. Don't know if we'll be looking at many of them. Ray Stone's had his moments in Supercoach relevance, but not too sure about that. Jaden Campbell. I didn't have him last year, and he's like Reece Walsh on steroids. I can remember weeks where I was coming up against him 60 minutes into the game, and I'm like, sick. My opposition had him, and I was like, sick. He's on 26. We got this. Turn the game off. Come back later, and he scored a ton. And it's just like, fuck. He's the type of player that I don't want, and I don't want to come up against either. So, yeah, he's just pain for me. Connolly Lemelieu. I feel like there was a bit of chat around Lemuelu for him. Is it Lemuelu or Lemelieu? Lemelieu sounds... I don't know. Moving on. If he gets more... yeah, keep an eye on him. I don't know enough about him to speak with confidence. Cool. Next up, Roosters Knights. Oh boy, this one could be a fucking shit. Oh, no. Okay. We got some full strengths here. Okay. This will be a bit better. Ponga versus Teddy. Two teams that are going to be very reliant on their fullbacks. With Roosters decimated in the halves, decimated in their outside backs. They've still got some like very, very good players and some very good forwards, but Teddy is going to be their game changer along with Ponga. So this will be an interesting game to watch. Both teams that didn't do too well and will want to bounce back from last week. Schiller on the wing. He's a bit pricey. Nwaka Nitawasi. People... When I say people, I just mean other Supercoach content creators. So Bloke, SC Playbook, Supercoach Experience, Insight, all them. They're not as hot on Mark now. And I suppose it's fair. He's still like learning the game. You know, you can't just come out of one game and go into another and get everything right straight away. Robert Toyer, hopefully he does well. We really want him in. So it's good to see he's got a spot there. No Billy Smith, unless he's further down. Greg the Leg, who I'm seriously starting to consider in my team. He's very cheap. Gets through his work. If we see that left edge open up for the Knights, he'll be very highly owned. And we've got whatever fucking halves pairing the Knights want to go with this week. Connor Watson, very keen to see him. He had a good game last time he played. Leo Thompson's an interesting one because he is leaving the Knights. Is he going to... God, he has a very strange shaped head, doesn't he? It's like a bean. The things I distract myself with are remarkable. Yeah, with him going to the Bulldogs, is he going to be like, oh, okay, well, my time's up at the Knights? Or is he going to be like, right, I need to make an impression? He's a gun player. He's a professional. I think he'll be in for a big year. Dylan Lucas. I had him in my team and then wanted to beef up my second row forward a bit more. I know he's a second row, but I had him in my center wing. So maybe that could be a way of beefing up my second row forward, but keep the cash distribution a little bit better. Something to think about. Angus Crichton, I can't talk you out of starting with him. I think him and Teddy are going to have to get very involved to help out this decimated Roosters team. It's just the price, and he will play Origin probably. I know it's early to be thinking about that shit, but if you can pick and stick someone and just not touch them, it's pretty ideal for saving trades. Seo Wong, we've talked enough about these Roosters cheap forwards. If this is like my first video you're watching of me, basically pick Navahu White, who hasn't been named, interestingly, but he did play last week. Yeah, just pick him. He seems like the option. Obviously, check your teams lists for round one. Kaipis Paul looks like in the words of Guru, looks like he's been given a license to offload. Last year, the chat is that he looked like he was scared to make a mistake. He'd often get his arm free, but not offload it, probably under instruction from the coach just to get the simple stuff right. Maybe this year we see a bit more from him. Will I be picking him off the start though? Fuck no. There he is, Nafahu White. Easy guy from the Roosters. I wouldn't pick him and Wong. If you wanted to go a pod route, pick Wong instead. But I think White is the very highly owned guy for a reason. Any relevance here? Ethan King, maybe? But some injuries would have to happen for that. Will Price doesn't have to be at fullback anymore. That was a tough watch last week. Chopwood, hopefully he kills it, earns himself some minutes. Wow, Tyrone Thompson and what's his face look very similar, don't they? That would be because they're brothers. Okay. Storm Cowboys, fucking hell. How much do the Cowboys lose by here? This could be a toweling up of the fucking century. Have Storm named? Yeah, looks like the Storm have named relatively. Oh, maybe not. Falongo against Drinkwater. Two electric fullbacks that are great to watch. Braden Burns with Kane Bradley, Jack Howarth, Jackson Purdue. Obviously, all these Cowboys guys can be very relevant in a cheapy sense. Some people might pick Drinkwater as a fullback, and I don't hate it, but is he going to get in much attacking position? Like, from what I've seen from the Cowboys, it looks pretty fucking dire. Anyway, Jackson Purdue, get him in your team. Pretty much everyone's got him. Wishart at halfback. Hopefully he has a bit of a better week than he did last week. Tom Duffy in as well. And this looks to be fairly full strength. So this is really good to see for Purdue. Good for Burns. Good for Duffy. Yeah, it's just how many of those Cowboys guys do you want? Stefano. Someone said that he just looks good in your team. It's one of those picks where you see him there and you're like, when you're looking at a gun or a mid to downgrade, he's not one of the guys. And when I had him in my team, I couldn't agree more. It just looks good. But I've since shaken up my forwards and he's gone, but I can't discourage anyone from going there. Reece Robson. He might regress a little bit this year. He is still going to want to play Origin. He still is going to always be a gun. I don't know. We got some of the best hookers going head-to-head here. And if you've watched my videos, you know that I fucking hate hooker when it comes to Supercoach, so fuck it. Bateman. He could be an option. And Sean Bloor, actually. If Sean Bloor gets a decent role, he's a gun player and can kill it as well as Bateman, even though he's just constantly being shipped around to new clubs because he doesn't seem to get along with anybody. Eli Katoa, does he replicate the heights he did last year? He's definitely good enough to. He's in a team that's good enough to. I will be targeting him after the bye, but I'll also be targeting Jerome Hughes, so it's a lot of money of players to bring in without money coming out, so you've got to get those cheapies right. Ruben Cotter, I think he'll regress a bit. Couldn't tell you why, heard about it, can't think of it off the top of my head, but no one's really talking about him anyway. Joe Chan, never again. Harrison Edwards, maybe. Alec McDonald, maybe. I think Lazarus Valuepu, if there's some injuries, he's a big boy that could come in. Derby, just there. Uh-oh, did I just... Oh, okay. Yes, I did, fuck. Derby... I mean, is there really anything you can take from the Cowboys' performance last week? Other than I would love to verse them, which Manly is in round 1, 13 plus. Fucking 30 plus, how they're looking. Jackson Polo there. I think that's all we have to go over with those guys. Cool. That's all the teams lists. don't forget to comment your bets for the week. If you don't know how it works, we have I'll pull it up actually. Here we go. So my Supercoach, here we go. So my Supercoach group league, every week I give a budget. You can see here it's $20. And you guys get to comment bets for whatever you want down in the comments. I'll put them on. If the bets win, it gets added to the prize pool. You can see here we had an Adam Flanua-Blake anytime try scorer and a Nonu first time try scorer already getting towards $100, and the season hasn't even started yet. It will be the easiest to win this league this year. I am fronting money. People are going to join. We've already got, I haven't checked for a while. We're probably at about 200 entries, but next year I wouldn't be surprised if it's into the thousands because it's a free cash game. So get in, get involved, and good luck. There's the code there. Don't forget to comment your bets, whatever you want. You can comment them on this video. I'll also check comments from last video in case you've left comments there, so don't worry about it. We can get rid of these guys now because they've been added to the pool. Cool, that's all, guys. Getting so close to Vegas now. Fucking pumped. Up Manly, 13+. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next week, Uru.